So I was changing my Brita water filter, and I can't ever throw anything away without asking myself, can I use this for something else? So I picked this beautiful thing up, and I looked at the bottom side, and I saw what I couldn't believe. And I asked myself, is this pond? And the only way to find out if this works is to cut it open and get at that sweet, sweet pond. Now, if you're going to follow along to get your share of the pond from your little Brita filters, this is definitely dangerous. This is a lot thicker than I would expect, to be quite honest. I think they could probably thin this up a bit and still have like a nice filter, but anything difficult to get is always good and worth it. So definitely be careful if you're hacking away at this stuff. Again, the plastic is thick, it's not easy, and it's a really great way to cut open your hand and turn that pond mining into the emergency room. So be very careful. Now, I've got more than one, so I cut open a second one. You can see I tried like chopping away at the top, and it did not work like I expected. So definitely just a slit all the way around somewhere in the center, and you'll get access to all of it. This stuff is really messy, by the way. It's not it's not heavy. It sticks to everything, and it's even worse when it dries out. So make sure it's wet. If it's dry, it's probably like asbestos, basically. Now you'll notice here I like to poke around in there. I don't even know what this is or if it's safe to touch. If you can drink water that's gone through it, I'm sure you can touch it. But again, I am a pioneer paving the way for you guys. So here's our sacrificial plant. This is an anthurium. This is gracile, and we're going to use this one to test it out. It's got a pretty big root structure. We're going to turn this into a hydroponic grow pretty much, because that's kind of how you use pond. Now, I did put a little paper towel at the bottom because this stuff is very fine, and as soon as I were to add water to the top or anything, it's just all going to come flying out. So that's just to keep the stuff from coming out the bottom. But yeah, I just put everything in there, dumped the Brita pond right on top, shook it a little bit so it settled in there, and that's pretty much it. We can put this under some grow lights, have a little bit of water in the bottom of the tray just to keep it wet, because again, if this stuff dries out, I don't have any footage of it, but it turns into like dust, so you got to keep it wet. But yeah, we're going to let this sit under some grow lights and just see what kind of happens over a little bit of time here. Alright, I did let 1 month go by, and in between that it was like drying out into dust. I would rewater it to get it like plump again. It was quite the vicious cycle. This stuff pretty much like desiccates itself very quickly if you're not like keeping up with it, and you can see what happens to the roots. Once we rinse off all that Brita pond, you can kind of see that it's rotted out pretty badly, at least all that long dangly stuff that was hanging. But all the stuff that was towards the surface and not sitting directly in the water, because again, this is kind of like a semi-hydro thing, all of those roots are activating quite well. So it is working, so to speak. But again, I had a lot of difficulties keeping this stuff working. I don't know if it's because it's like a charcoal and whatever else, but it's like once it starts drying on the surface, and you can see how the surface is a little weird looking compared to like underneath, it dries out really quick. So it's a really goofy thing to deal with. Now, would I ever do this again? Probably not, because like I said, once it desiccates and turns really dry, it's basically a dust that goes everywhere, and it becomes super messy, and the plant can just like fall right out. There's like no weight to it. So I guess it was fun to try, but I would not use it.